Solve means to work out the value for the letter. Here the opposite add 2 is to subtract 2 from both sides. 2 take away 2 will cancel, leave us with x, and 7 take away 2 gives us 5. For question 2, the opposite of minus 1.5 is to the inverse, which is to add 1.5 to both sides. Negative 1.5 add 1.5 will cancel, to leave us with y, and 4 add 1.5 gives us 5.5. For question 3, 8p in algebra means 8 multiplied by p. The opposite of multiply by 8 is to divide both sides of my equation by 8. 8 over 8 will cancel to leave us with p, and 48 divided by 8 will give us 6. For question 4, the opposite divide by 5 is to the inverse, and that is to multiply both sides of my equation by 5. Times it by 5 and dividing by 5 are the inverse, so it's going to leave me with m. On the right, 11 times 5 gives us 55. For our fifth question, here the opposite divide by 5 is to the inverse, which is to multiply both sides of our equation by 5. Times it by 5 and dividing by 5 are going to cancel to leave us with 2t. On the right, 3 times 5 gives us 15. 2t in algebra means 2 multiplied by t. The opposite of multiply by 2 is to divide both sides by 2. 2 over 2 will cancel to leave us with t, and 15 divided by 2 gives us 7.5. For question 6, the opposite of minus 1 is to add 1 to both sides. Here, negative 1 add 1 will cancel to leave us with 2w. And the right, 6 add 1 gives us 7. We know 2w in algebra means 2 multiplied by w. Opposite of times by 2 is to divide both sides of our equation by 2. 2 over 2 will cancel to give us just w. And 7 divided by 2 gives us 3.5. For question number 7, well, the opposite of multiply by 5 is we're going to start by dividing both sides of our equation by 5. 5 over 5 will cancel to leave us with m plus 1. On the right hand side, 40 divided by 5 gives us 8. The opposite add 1 is to the inverse, and that's subtract 1 from both sides. 1 take away 1 will cancel, leave us with n, and 8 subtract 1 gives us 7. Question 8, the opposite divide by 5 is to start by multiplying both sides of our equation by 5. On the left, times it by 5 and dividing by 5 are the inverse, so we're simply left with 2p minus 1. On the right hand side, 3 times 5 gives us 15. The opposite of minus 1 is to add 1 to both sides. Negative 1 add 1 will cancel to leave us with 2p. On the right hand side, 15 add 1 gives us 16. 2p in algebra means 2 times p. The opposite of times by 2 is to divide both sides of our equation by 2. 2 over 2 will cancel to give us p, and 16 divided by 2 gives us 8.